Alright, welcome back to another horror room movie review, guys. Today was Child's Play 2, and just got done watching this movie, and this one I didn't care for as much as the first movie. I thought it didn't really have a lot of death scenes. Chucky didn't really kill that many people at all. If I add them up, and you count the first guy who was electrocuted accidentally, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 people tops. He was very evil in this movie, though, but I don't know. And this one was really short. It was like an hour and 20 minutes. So I didn't really like this one as much as the first. It came out in 1990, had a budget of $13 million, made $35 million at the box office. And the first thing we see is them rebuilding Chucky, the good guy factory people rebuilding him, the burned body. So I guess getting shot in the heart doesn't kill Chucky, like they made us think in the first movie. And we see the good guy doll people, the president and the company, they're trying to do damage control because of the situation. The tabloids are reporting about the crazy doll. Karen, Andy's mother from the first movie, is in a mental institution. The police aren't saying anything, but the tabloids are talking. They're thinking maybe it was a disgruntled employee or something like that, and the stockholders aren't happy. So I guess they thought they would rebuild Chucky, make him better, stronger, faster, so that they could show, hey, he's not an evil doll. However, while they're rebuilding him, one of the guys gets electrocuted to death. And the president's pissed off. He's not happy about it. And one of the businessmen asks him, what do you want me to do with the doll? And he says, shove him up your ass. So I thought that was a good line. But it was really cool to see them kind of take the melted pieces of Chucky and clean him up, give him new eyes, a new body. So that was pretty cool to see. And then we see Andy. It's the same kid from the first movie. And I guess he's at an orphanage. And he goes to live with a foster family. And this was really depressing. Just after everything he went through in the first movie to this, now his mom, people think she's crazy, and we know she's not crazy. So I just thought it was really depressing, but he goes to live with a foster family. And we meet Kyle, who is kind of a troubled youth who is also living with this family, the Simpsons. And Andy goes to look at his new room, and he finds a good guy doll. And he instantly freaks out. This doll's name is Tommy. The parents, the Simpsons, they're kind of like, maybe this kid needs more help than we can give him, but they're still trying to give him a chance. And then we see the businessman from the Good Guy Factory. He's got Chucky in his car. He's leaving work. He stops at a liquor store. And while he's inside, Chucky uses his car phone to get Andy's address, pretending he's his uncle. So now he knows where Andy lives. And then the guy gets back in the car, and Chucky pulls a gun on him. He has him drive to a parking lot. The businessman's freaking out. Chucky shoots him and shows that, hey, it's really just a water pistol. And the guy's like laughing, and he's like, okay. And then Chucky just kills him with a plastic bag anyway. So, very, very evil Chucky in this movie. So Chucky shows up at the foster family's house that night, and he sees the other good guy doll. And he grabs a statue, and he breaks it, he beats its face in, and then he goes and buries it in the backyard. Kind of reminded me of the scene in Step Brothers where they try to bury each other, but he buries it directly under a swing. So of course it's just going to get discovered later. It's like the worst possible place he could put it, but that's where he buries this doll. And he takes its place, so that now he is the good guy doll in the house. The next day, Andy and Kyle are grounded because Chucky broke the statue, and the Simpsons think it was one of them. Andy's talking to Kyle. He takes a drag off of her cigarette. And Andy learns, he hears the foster parents talking about him. And Mr. Simpson says, maybe he needs more help. So Andy goes and he looks at the good guy doll, who is really Chucky now. And he says, I hate you. And it says, I'm Tommy. And it was really good because it paused here. And Chucky had to remember what the previous doll's name was. So he had to think about it. And I thought that was a great little scene there. But Andy checks the back for batteries, and he sees that it does have batteries. So he's like, okay, it's not Chucky. And he takes it to go play, and he walks by the Simpsons holding the doll so that they think he's normal, he's adjusting. The poor kid is just trying to fit in here. And it was just really sad. But that night, Andy wakes up to see Chucky over him performing the ritual. He ties him up to the bed with like jump rope, and he's performing the ritual, but Kyle comes into the room, so he has to stop. And Kyle actually thinks Andy tied himself up. So the Simpsons come in the room, and they think Kyle did it. Of course, they won't listen to Andy saying it was Chucky, and Mr. Simpson throws Chucky down the stairs into the basement, and when he shuts the door, Chucky's nose starts bleeding, and he knows he's turning human again. So Chucky follows Andy to school the next day, and we see the teacher, who I believe is the same lady who plays Jimmy's mom on Yes Dear, but I could be wrong about that. And Andy gets picked on, and he tells the kid who's picking on him, "Get lost, microchip." Whatever that means. So Andy's already getting in trouble with the teacher, and the teacher goes to check his paper, and it says "fuck you bitch" on it, which Chucky wrote. And so Andy gets in trouble. The teacher, all the kids leave, and she keeps Andy behind for detention. She takes a good guy doll, thinking Andy wants to play with it, and it's Chucky, and she locks it in the closet, and she leaves. So while she's gone, Chucky is trying to get out of the closet. He's yelling things at Andy. This was a really funny scene. Andy escapes through the window, and then the teacher comes back, and she hears the noises in the closet, thinking Andy's in there. So she opens the door, Chucky stabs her with a basketball pump, and then beats her to death with a ruler, of all things. And this was just a little much for me. Yes, I know it's a horror movie about a crazy doll with a serial killer's soul inside of it. I get that. But to kill someone with a ruler, that's a stretch. And it didn't even show it. It just showed like a little hand swinging a bloody ruler. So yeah, I was disappointed by this for sure. And this scene is one I definitely do remember watching years and years ago when Chucky killed her with the ruler. So the Simpsons are mad at Andy for getting detention. They show him the doll is still in the basement. And later that night, Andy hears them fighting. So he goes to get an electric knife out of the kitchen. He's going to kill Chucky. He's pissed now. And he knows Chucky will never quit coming after him. So he goes to the basement. Chucky's gone. He's searching for him, and he gets in a fight with him. He cuts him with the electric knife, and Chucky runs away. Mr. Simpson comes down the basement steps, and Chucky trips him, and he falls and breaks his neck. So Chucky is killing these people, destroying their lives now too. So the guy falls down the stairs, breaks his neck. Andy gets taken back to the orphanage. Kyle takes Chucky outside and throws him away. And while she's swinging, she finds the body of the original good guy doll, Tommy. So she's like, what the hell is going on? She goes and checks the trash cans, and sure enough, Chucky is gone. So she's freaking out. She runs in the house. She grabs a knife. She runs upstairs to save Mrs. Simpson. And Mrs. Simpson has already been killed. She's had her throat cut. She gets in a fight with Chucky. Chucky gets the knife from her and takes her hostage and forces her to drive to where Andy is. So they get in her car and they're chasing after Andy. And they're driving so fast that they get pulled over by the cops. And the cop comes up to the door and he sees Chucky sitting there. And he's like, hey, is that one of those good guy dolls? And then he sees the nose start to bleed. And he's like, what the hell is that? And she's like, well, you know how dolls can wet themselves? This one bleeds. And he's like, all right, see you later. Drive carefully. So Kyle slams on the brakes after the cop leaves. And Chucky goes flying through the windshield. And then she runs him over, but of course he's fine. And he gets the knife back on her, and they still go to the orphanage. A fire alarm has been pulled. The lady in charge of the orphanage and Andy are the only ones left inside the orphanage. And Kyle and Chucky come in, and she's like, what's going on here? So she takes him into the office. Chucky comes to life, stabs this lady. She falls on the copy machine. They do the whole bit where like it's pictures of her being killed coming out of the copy machine. And Chucky locks Kyle out of the office, and he takes Andy, and they jump into the back of a newspaper truck. So Kyle picks the lock. She chases after him in her car. She gets the newspaper truck guy to pull over. But Chucky and Andy take off and they head into a good guy factory. So Kyle's chasing after him. She even does the entire Indiana Jones roll under the gate before the door closes to get into the factory. It was kind of cheesy. And she gets in and she's trying to find him. Chucky knocks Andy out and he performs the ritual. And he's actually successful. However, he's been trapped in this doll's body for too long now. He's human. There is no way out. He is Chucky forever. He's a good guy doll forever, and he's trapped, and now he's pissed off, and Chucky just wants revenge at this point. So Kyle grabs Andy. They try to escape the factory in the most inconvenient way possible. I was just shaking my head at this the entire time. I mean, this factory has the dolls. They put the eyeballs in, the conveyor belts, and she actually crawls through one of the machines with Andy where you can see the door says exit on the other side. Instead of just walking around, they go through the machine. It didn't make any sense at all. So they're trying to escape the factory. Chucky's chasing after them. They slam this metal gate onto his hand, and Chucky has to rip his own hand off, and then he stabs a knife into it, so he's got like a blade hand. That was actually pretty cool, but he never really uses it. A maintenance guy comes to fix one of the machines, and Chucky cuts him, and the guy falls into the machine, and he gets the fake eyeballs stuck into his eyeballs. And that was also kind of cool. Even though later he's found swinging up and down, and there's absolutely no way Chucky could have put him up there, so I don't really know what the hell that was about, but at least the eyeball scene was cool. So they actually get Chucky, and they sew him down onto this board, and he's stuck on the assembly line, and he's headed up into the machine, and we hear him getting tortured, and then we see his body come out, and he's just like a melted blob of good guy parts. So I'm thinking, okay. And then we see all this blood underneath, and he escaped somehow. I don't know. But he's riding along, he was able to get out, and he's coming for Andy, and Andy blasts him full of this hot plastic, and then they put an air hose into his mouth, and his head explodes. And that was how they finally finished him off. The last thing we see is Kyle and Andy leaving the factory together. And that was it. It was definitely goofier, and I thought it had a few funny parts in it, and I didn't really mind it that much. It's just I really did prefer the first one. This one was kind of short, and I don't know, just not enough stuff happening. There was a lot of downtime, it felt like, and if the movie's only going to be an hour and 20 minutes, they really needed more of Chucky just killing people, because they had way too much downtime for a movie this short, in my opinion. But that's it, guys. That's my review of Child's Play 2. I'll be back next week with Child's Play 3. So hope you liked the video. Leave your thoughts on this movie in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Bye.